Welcome to VoteProPot-Cast, the award-winning cannabis news podcast brought to you by VoteProPot.com. Here are your hosts, Phil Adams, Jay Britton, and Andrew McCreadies.
Does marijuana make you dumber? Not according to science. Las Vegas is poised to become the next cannabis travel destination. Marijuana actually can help you perform a certain function. Hi, everybody. Welcome to VoteProPot-Cast. We're really glad to have you with us today. So wonderful to see so many downloads nowadays. You guys are just going crazy. Our VoteProPot-Cast group on Facebook is growing and growing, and we're really glad that you're here and that you're seem to be enjoying our podcast. We're going to get to those items and some other stuff. But first, I want to talk about, you guys, something I saw last night. Now, I was watching TV for a while, and I was watching Fox News Channel, which I'm known to do from time to time. I am a conservative, after all. And I had Tucker Carlson on, and I caught him just in time to hear him go on one of his tirades about marijuana legalization and how scandalous it is, you know, and it got under my skin, and not just because I'm a cannabis, legal reform advocate, which of course I am, but just the smugness. Now, anyone who's watched, I tend to fall in line with a lot of his perspectives on a lot of things. They converge. But what a smug bastard he is. He's good.
I think his bow tie was too tight.
Well, he mostly loses the bow tie, but he's just says, it acts as if what he says is
gospel
from God's ear to your lips. And this is and last night he was talking about, now Jay, you may know what piece of legislation or proposal he's referring to, but he was talking about a proposal to subsidize, not only legalize, but subsidize cannabis businesses. Are you aware of any such proposal?
No, I heard mention of it, but I'm not sure exactly if that's a state legislation.
I don't know. Andrew, did you ever hear of something like that?
I've heard some people talking about giving some people advantages in getting into the industry, maybe, but I think that's more along the lines of giving minorities and women or some people who are financially not able to, come up with all the money to get into the business, but have the wherewithal.
Or areas.
I've heard of things like that, but I haven't heard about paying farmers not to grow pot.
Or to grow it.
Because if they do, I want that gig.
Supporting prices.
I've heard talk of some of the inner city areas that have been hit hardest by the war on drugs, and maybe giving them some advantage financially to starting businesses and loans and so forth.
Well, Tucker Carlson just went to town about this. He was saying stuff like, with all of the thing we have that you can get addicted to, the opioids, the alcohol, not to mention, video games and gambling, and he's just going on and on. Do we really need to add something new? First of all, Tucker, there's nobody adding anything new here. Everyone in America. Let me explain this to you. Number one, everyone in America who wants cannabis can get it. It was that way 40 years ago when I was in high school.
Yep.
It's still that way today.
It's more so today.
More so today. Legal or criminalizing cannabis does not change that dynamic. People are going to smoke pot, whether you do it legally or illegally. If that's what they want to do, that's what they're going to do. People have choices. As a conservative, you ought to have that ingrained into your head that people have choices. Second of all, there is, no study that you could put it this way. Show me the study. Name me the researcher, the scientist, the doctor who has demonstrated that cannabis is more addictive than alcohol, more addictive than freaking sugar, or half a dozen other legal substances that you can name that make people feel a certain way that they enjoy every single day. And you know why they enjoy it? You know why they enjoy it, Jay? Because they're freaking Americans and they can.
There you go. You're right. You're right. You're exactly
same with
right.
Nicotine and caffeine.
Right.
Are both totally basically. Well, caffeine is unregulated. Tobacco is regulated to a point, but you can go to a store and buy as many cigarettes as you want.
He harps on the gateway thing too.
And you think should the government allow us to have coffee? Should they allow it? Fuck you!
Take away my coffee, see what happens.
Yeah. Should I allow you to work in Washington? That's the question.
Right.
The same goes for you, Mr. Carlson. And I got to say, I respect his points of view and his ability to voice them. And for the most part, by and large, I'm right along with him and share a lot of his conservative perspectives in principle. But Tucker, you are way off on this one, just way off. And, I'd challenge him to a debate, but he won't,
call us up, Tucker.
He doesn't even look at his Twitter feed, as far as I can tell.
He should have you on his show.
There you go.
I'd like to take this opportunity to point something out. When we started this podcast, Jay came to me with the idea, and I said, let's get Phil on board. And Jay said, oh, absolutely not. He's a conservative.
I never said
and I
that.
said,
that's not a reason not to.
No. I said, well, if we have a podcast where we target, people smoking weed, it's like preaching to the choir. We're not changing. We're not doing anything. So one of the things that's great about having Phil on board, not only is he super talented and a very bright, well-read individual and one of our oldest friends,
and really good looking. You forgot that. But his political opinion. We brought him on because we don't share political opinion, and maybe we thought he could talk to people who are maybe have more conservative values, and maybe he could speak their language and convince them or make them understand that cannabis laws are archaic and unfair and inhuman. Right. And that is my goal. And when I see my fellow conservatives, whom I respect, and I respect, everyone's point of view on every point of the spectrum, whether I share them or not, but when I hear somebody on my side of the aisle so, vehemently opposed based on misinformation. Now, I don't think there's anything really malicious in his intent. I don't think he's stupid. I don't think he's crazy. I think he's just misinformed. He is still operating under the old school reefer madness mode of thinking that, marijuana is a dangerous, addictive drug, and the people who use it are bad people or, seriously ill people. And
good people don't smoke marijuana.
Right. And, that's what we were raised to do. Now, we kind of liked it, but we were told that if you smoke marijuana, you're a pot smoker and a criminal. Well, both of those things are true.
You're going to go crazy. It's going to kill you. It's going to drive you insane. Yeah. And we all realized that was bullshit. It made us think, well, maybe everything they're telling us is bullshit.
So, you need to update your thinking, Tucker. And I could go on more about this, but we have more to get to because he went into some areas that were really a little ridiculous. Maybe I'll pick that up on another episode. But, Tucker, you need to inform yourself. And you know where's a great place to do that? Right here. VoteProPot.com. We've got all kinds of resources, information, links. You can research this. And if you don't want to do it, you're a busy guy. You got stuff to do. You've got a research team, I'm sure. On your staff, have them research it. Have them join us here on Vote Pro Podcast. Learn a thing or two, and then tell me if the government should allow it.
It's sad because I'm not a conservative, and I really don't share a lot of the opinions or many, if any, of Tucker Carlson. But I have read some of the things that he's written, and he's a great writer. I think he's really smart. It's just sad that he's been duped by these lies.
Thank you for joining us for Vote Pro Podcast. If you enjoy the show, we'd love to hear from you. Send us your thoughts at VoteProPot.com/contact or send us an email at podcast@VoteProPot.com, and please give us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. If you'd like to be part of the show, call our message line at 240-257-2441. Tell your friends about us and be sure to like, follow and share us on social media. Just go to Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn and Twitter and do a search for Vote Pro Pot. Now, back to the boys.
The other thing I have to say to Tucker is, sorry there, Tucker Carlson, but new research refutes your belief that the Democrats support marijuana legalization because they want to dumb down America.
You said that last night. He sure did.
Crazy. That's insane.
No, a recent study of twins found little to support that, and they actually found that regular marijuana use does not cause any decline in your cognitive function.
Not at all.
They did a study of 400 families of twins, and they found out that it really has little effect when it comes to executive functioning. So I guess I guess they really didn't track the IQs as much as their
decision making and problem solving and things like that.
Right. Really, marijuana doesn't make you stupid. Now, when you're under the effects of marijuana, you may not be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I have a theory on this.
Listen to this show.
Right.
I don't think marijuana makes you dumber. I think marijuana makes other people seem smarter.
To you, at least.
and I tend to believe it. I've known a lot of really very smart people who smoke marijuana. Matter of fact, I have a cousin who master's degree from Ivy League schools. This guy's just, super intelligent, super bright. And whenever we get together family functions, the first thing he says to me is, "How you doing? Got any weed?" So anyway, I think there needs to be more research into this. To say that all pot smokers are Spicoli or, is ridiculous. It's like saying every drunk is like, what was his name, Foster Brooks or whatever stereotypical drunk you have, Otis the drunk.
It's not that way. I mean, people are people, and stereotypes are most often wrong. And so I just think he needs to inform himself. Lest one think that we're here to do nothing but extol the virtues of cannabis and pretend that it is without risks. We're not. When there's bad news to tell, we're here to do that too. Well, Jay, you've got some information on something that's not so beneficial.
Scientists have discovered a new link between marijuana smoking and testicular cancer, or the risk of testicular cancer. This is an article I got in Business Insider by Julia Naftulin. There's new evidence that daily use of cannabis, smoking, could increase your risk of testicular cancer. A study published Wednesday, that's last week, in the Journal of American Medical Association found that men who smoked one marijuana cigarette or joint daily for 10 years or more had an estimated 36% increased risk of developing testicular cancer compared with men who had never smoked the substance. Researchers analyzed 25 studies, so that's quite a large sampling, that looked at the link between marijuana use and testicular cancer, lung cancer, oral cancer, and head and neck cancer. Though the researchers found no association between regular marijuana use and lung, neck, oral cancer, they did find that regular weed smoking over many years could heighten a man's risk of testicular cancer. So much more study has to be done. No correlation has been proven, of course. There's just a statistical analysis showing, and that's a pretty significant statistic, 36%. So it's definitely more studies required.
Sure.
And we do know that there associations have been made between sperm count and sperm DNA and regular use of cannabis, especially smoking cannabis.
So there is beneficial correlations, in other words.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's enough there that more study has to definitely be done. According to the National Organization for Rare Disorders, testicular cancer accounts for only 1% of the cancers in men, yet it's the most common diagnosed cancer in men between the ages of 15 and 35. And
really?
every year in the U.S., an estimated 8,850 men are diagnosed. I have a good friend.
15 years old.
Yeah, I have a good friend that was diagnosed with testicular cancer when he was 17.
Oy.
And he had surgery and chemo, and he's our age. He's in his 60s now, and he's never had another problem with it. So it's very treatable when found early.
Did he retain his nuts?
One of them.
All right.
He's shooting...
better than nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Single barrel.
Single barrel. So testicular cancer is one of the most treatable forms of cancer, according to NORD. It's usually completely curable with surgery and sometimes requires a little radiation or chemo. So that's the good news.
So it's not the most virulent kind. It's not like
it's
pancreatic
not.
or something.
It's not typically a malignant type cancer. So the other thing is it's very common. There are symptoms that men notice when it's in its early stages, nodules and changes. So anyway, that's a not so great piece of news about cannabis, but that's okay. We bring it all.
Right. So men should practice better penis health.
Right. Well, or testicular health.
So I think a lot of men don't report issues when it comes to
that's true for sure.
They don't until it's too late.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we're saying, if you're a pot smoker and you might regularly for years, and you might feel a tingle down there, go get it checked out as soon as possible.
Especially, all kidding aside, it's like if you feel your balls when you're taking a shower and there's any kind of mass or lump or nodule that you feel that doesn't feel right, get it checked out immediately.
Yep.
Because it is curable 100% with early diagnosis. I do have another health story here, gentlemen. This is by Brendan Bures from the French Toast.
Hey, Brendan.
Hey, Brendan. According to new research published in the American Journal of Gastroenterology,
Oh, yeah.
Those who recently smoked weed were less likely to suffer from constipation. How about that?
No shit.
So,
scientists.
Yeah, so keep you regular.
Keep you regular.
What you're saying is it'll keep you regular.
Keep you moving. Scientists still don't completely understand how cannabis affects the gastrointestinal system or the digestive process. To better understand the relationship, researchers identified American adults who completed the drug use and bowel movement questionnaire in the National Health and Nutritional Examination Survey.
Never took
Neither
that
one
one.
of you guys laughed, and you're so junior high. I expected a chuckle or something when I said
I know, but that would be predictable.
Well done.
So
I appreciate your restraint.
Right.
National Health and National Examination Survey over a 6-year period from 2005 to 2010, using the Bristol Stool Form Scale. Okay, don't laugh, Jay. Stop it.
I know it well.
Grow up. Be a grown-up. Scientists then analyzed the likelihood of an individual suffering from chronic constipation or diarrhea based on recent marijuana use. According to the study, recent weed consumption was associated with 30% lower odds of constipation.
Woo! I'll take those odds.
Man. Yeah. The prevalence of constipation was also lower for those who reported recently consuming marijuana when compared to those who had never used or done so in the past. These results persisted when the scientists adjusted for demographic factors such as race, sex, and socioeconomic status. So there you go, guys. Keep smoking your weed and you'll be able to take a crap every morning.
So is there a future for cannabis infused enemas?
I can see it happening. Yeah. Or no, actually, all kidding aside, there's a little blurb in this article where there is a company working on like a cannabis-based stool softener.
All right. Well,
so there you go.
There you go.
Now I imagine it would absorb much quicker, but down.
Much quicklier?
I don't know. It's a new part of speech, And
you make fun of Andrew. Much quicklier.
All right, Andrew, you've got that one.
You're so. His use of he creatively uses the English language.
Yeah, creatively mangled it. Sorry, folks.
Yeah, I don't know. Have you guys seen a correlation between pot smoking and your bowels?
Well, I'm pretty okay in that area anyway. So
Yeah,
I mean,
me
it
too.
doesn't, nothing really improved about it. So
All kidding aside, I will say this: I'm a person who has in the past, due to some medical issues, taken pain medication. And man, you talk about constipation. Holy crap!
yeah, opioids are
No pun
notorious for it. I mean,
Oh,
they
yeah.
even have
Oh, yeah.
therapies for opioid
it's awful.
constipation.
It's
bad.
terrible. And I was on some pain meds, pretty significant opioids after some surgery I had a few years back. And man, the worst part of recovering from my surgery was trying to take a dump. But no, getting off that stuff and just having a little cannabis in the evening, absolutely perfect.
So let's get this straight. So cannabis can help people get get off their dependency of opiates, and it can also help soften your stools. So maybe we need to make an infused laxative.
Man, it's another great idea
Preparation P, man.
from the ideas, man. That's preparation P.
Preparation.
Oh, damn.
Okay, I got breaking news. Breaking news. This is just in from the main office. Ding, update from last week. Willie Nelson, there's been a lot of stories out how Willie Nelson has quit smoking marijuana, and now it's official. Willie Nelson says, and I quote, "I'm not smoking anymore, and I'm not smoking any less." Yep. So apparently, let's just clear it all up for once and for all. This is a quote from Willie's son, Lucas, who Lucas and his brother are. I don't know if you've seen them before, but they're both extremely gifted musicians. Really good.
Yeah, they really
I saw
are.
them perform with their dad one time, and they just, brought a tear to your eye how cool it was. Yeah. Also, it was cool with their dad, But anyway, so he says, and I quote, "There are a lot of articles going around saying my father's no longer smoking weed. It's almost 2020. How people ingest cannabis has changed between vaping, edibles, gummies, and drops, etc. I think it's safe to say Willie will never stop using and enjoying Mary Jane."
All right, Willie.
Good.
Okay.
But I wonder if is he?
I'm glad. I was a little disappointed.
Well, there's a Twitter photograph of Willie with a big smile holding a vape pen.
Oh,
And that's the first time I've ever seen him holding. Plus,
No,
he's a
I've
partner. He's a partner in Willie's Reserves, man. Come on.
Well, the
But I've never
stories
seen
were
him-
everywhere, though. I mean, the
Yeah.
stories were everywhere.
Yeah, all over the
We thought we were
internet.
breaking some news or something like that. No, the stories were everywhere.
Yep.
And the internet is never wrong. So
For the first time in many years, Willie, you were always on my mind.
Now it's a good time, I think, to make the announcement, guys, that the VoteProPot 2019 Person of the Year is, drumroll, Willie Nelson. Hey, who would have thought? Yeah, Willie's our Person of the Year, yeah.
You're all right, Willie.
We're going to be sending you a cheesy plaque as soon as we scrape up the money to buy it. Okay.
we need to sell about 20 more mugs.
No, we love you, Willie. Willie is just.
Absolutely.
Matter of fact, we should have like a Lifetime Achievement Award.
There you go.
And call it the Willie.
The Willie.
The Willie
Flying
Award.
Willie.
Now, speaking of that, also, since we just announced the Person of the Year, VoteProPot Person of the Year, Time Magazine just announced theirs. Are about to announce theirs, or did they?
They did. She's
They announced
already
it today.
appeared on. They already have the cover out, I think.
Who is it?
Mm-hmm.
Greta Thunberg.
Oh, see now, she's cool. I
Teenage
get it.
climate activist.
I get it. She's great, but I think it was a no-brainer. I think the Person of the Year should have been Baby Yoda.
No. You said that wrong. Person of the Year, Baby Yoda should have been.
Okay.
Where did you come up with Baby Yoda?
Baby Yoda, man. But it's like Yoda and a puppy all together, man. What's cooler than that?
What
man?
could be cuter than a
that?
baby
Yeah,
Yoda? Now, it wasn't really Yoda. Apparently, it was one of the beings from where Yoda comes, but it wasn't actually a young
One of his
Yoda.
species.
One of his species. Yeah, right. Okay.
Right.
I that's what I heard. So,
See, I have a theory that Alf and Yoda are related.
I used to love Alf.
Nobody's old enough but us to remember Alf.
Hey,
He was pretty funny, though. He was pretty funny.
a hair in my tuna fish. I like it.
we've got an update on some of the sports stories we've been covering lately, guys. Remember, we did a story a couple months back about all the different pro sports organizations, the MLB and the NHL and the NFL,
National Football League,
beach volleyball,
and what they're doing with regard to cannabis and testing.
Yep.
Well, interestingly enough, the MILB, which is owned by the MLB, which is the minor league baseball.
Correct.
On Monday, Ken Rosenthal, who is a reporter for The Athletic, announced that Major League Baseball is removing from its list cannabis as part of the negotiation with players' union regarding new agreement on opioids. So no longer will players in the minor leagues, baseball minor leagues, be tested for cannabis.
Well, that's cool.
Now, they're not currently being tested in the major leagues, correct?
That's right.
Okay.
And that was the catch, because the minor league guys said, well, that's not fair. They test for opioid. In the majors, they test for opioids and they test for any kind of performance enhancement drugs, but they don't test for cannabis.
But they were like really strict in the minor leagues about cannabis.
That's right.
Exactly. Or have been, yeah, up to this point. Well, that makes sense. That's good. Glad to see baseball is getting their shit together.
Yeah. Well, the better player you are, the more you're allowed to do. No, that's dumb.
Apparently, 13 players in the minor leagues last year were suspended for testing positive for marijuana. So, well, they said 80% of the positive drugs listed on the quote-unquote abuse list, 80% of them were cannabis.
They should be reimbursed for the salary that they lost under suspension.
So 8% of the drug violations were just cannabis. They weren't steroids. They're not, smoking crack in the dugout.
Exactly. It was just guys smoking a joint on the weekend.
Right.
On a related note, you guys are maybe familiar with the XFL.
Yep.
The new off-season football league that's going to start. The XFL announced this week it will not include cannabis among its drug testing protocols when the new league launches in the spring.
Is that arena football, or is this a new league?
No, it's just regular old
I remember they had the XFL
football
years ago. Is it coming back?
That's right.
It's coming back.
You're right. It is. It's coming back.
The Vince, what's his name?
That's right. Vince McMahon.
McMahon, yeah.
The XFL is an alternative off-season football league led by the World Wrestling Entertainment Chairman Vince McMahon. Will reportedly not include cannabis among their drug testing protocols, according to the American Football International report. WWE talent, who are considered contractors, are tested for cannabis and fined $2,500 per positive test. Now, $2,500 doesn't sound like a lot, but for those guys, it is, because they're not making $25 million.
The minor leaguers and the XFLers, no, they're making squat.
Yeah, they're making, $40,000 a year or something.
Yeah.
So, in May, the XFL commissioner Oliver Luck told Sports Illustrated that the league would prefer not to test for marijuana, but would test for performance-enhancing drugs. The lack of testing for cannabis could make the fledgling league an alternative for players who have left the NFL for cannabis use.
And some fans, too.
Yeah, and some fans, too. Earlier this year, the NFL and the NFL Players Association announced the creation of a joint pain management committee that would include cannabis as part of its research into pain management and alternative therapies. And we've talked about that.
So is this pain management of joint pains, or is this a combined panel, a joint panel, or is it managing pain by smoking a joint?
It is a panel to investigate pain management for players.
Okay.
So anyway, guys, the XFL starts up in February. I mean, like literally a week after the Super Bowl or something. So,
well, I might pick a local team and support them.
Yeah, me too.
A little bit.
What the hell?
See where it goes. Little something there. Quite honestly, I've been a little bit fed up with the NFL as a league. Anyway, I've lost interest. It's just not as interesting a game as
I have too,
for me. There are a lot of people who still love it. Andrew, I know you still love it.
Well, I like football, but I'm not going to dedicate 4 hours of my day to watch a game anymore.
I was so into it.
I used to watch pregame and all that. Now, man.
Well, I'm going to, as soon as we're done, I'm going to go park myself in front of the TV and watch a Caps game because I love the Caps. I love the Nationals. I love the local teams, but NFL, kind of, I don't know. It's just not
part
what
of
it
it's the
used
Redskins suck salt. I mean, they
suck so bad. God.
Guys, man, that's why you should have come over to the Ravens side of.
Yeah, they're doing really well, man. They're doing really well.
But the Ravens are your home team.
Well, I don't root against the Ravens, but they're not in my blood. The local Washington teams are all kind of for a long time there, and even the newer ones, but they just kind of get in your blood. And the Ravens just, I'm not a Baltimore.
Well, my brother
fan.
and a bunch of our friends we all got to see it. The first day season tickets went on sale. We bought a bunch. We have 8 seats on the first row of the upper deck, 10 feet above the VIP suite. So, our view is the same as theirs. And
nice.
Now I've gone and I watched, Ray Lewis's entire career. Man, I watched Flacco's
the older I
entire
get,
career.
Just going to a football game is such a pain in the ass.
I know, man. It's cold.
All-day event, man.
And also, man, I don't want to wake up at the early shit to get there to start drinking at 11 o'clock in the morning. It's like, fuck that.
I don't have any problem with that.
Yeah, to watch on TV, the food is right there. And
I got a refrigerator. My beer's free, not $9.
Oh, my God. We sound like a bunch of old fucking
And when it's over.
Good damn young people.
And when the game is over, you're home.
You're home. Yeah, and if the game sucks, you can turn the fucking channel and watch a different game.
And if you go to a Redskin game after the game, you're stuck in traffic on the Beltway going north to south.
That's what I'm talking about.
Period.
Fuck
That's it.
that.
Anyway, I still love going to sports games.
Edit out this bitching.
Yeah,
it's like we're accepting an award at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Those guys. Have you ever noticed that?
They just go on and on.
They just start bitching about everything. It's never like thank you. They get there and really, it's awful.
Well, I don't think there's anything more to say about any of these things for now, anyway. But we really are glad that you downloaded and listened in on it. And if you have a moment and you think of it, go to Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or whatever platform you use, and give us a 5-star rating. Sure would help us out. If you know somebody who's interested in this kind of nonsense, share VoteProPot-Cast with a friend.
Send us an email at podcast@VoteProPot.com. We have a message line, 240-257-2441.
Yeah, there's so much going on in the cannabis world every week that it's impossible for us to cover just part of it on our podcast. So we share as much information as we can on our social networking platforms. So please go to Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and do a search for VoteProPot.
Lock me up, find me good. Label me a menace to your quiet neighborhood. I don't grow no plants. The state says I can't. That's not freedom. Freedom. That's the point. Smoke a bowl. I roll a joint. Do what I want. If I hurt nobody, that's the point. And if I want to get high, why shouldn't I? That's not freedom. Freedom. That's the point. Decide what's best for you and me. Smoke a bowl or roll a joint. Do what you want. If it hurts nobody, that's the point. So let's get high, yeah, you and I. It's called freedom.